Welcome back to the main event, Division A West, Divine 9 finishing up a doubleheader of their own this evening, going up against the StepDads, both veteran teams, been around the kind of chair league slash NGS scene for a while now, and both these teams really know what they're doing, so I think this is going to be a really good set here. StepDads sitting at, I believe, third place, but definitely top of the standings in A West, sitting in at 9-3. Divine 9, the reigning Division B Grand Champions, earned their promotion into Division A this season, and they haven't dominated, nor have they been dominated. They've kind of hovered middle of the pack. They were actually 6-6 coming into tonight. However, they did drop a 2-0 to another very good team in adults with jobs. And now, without any further ado, they're going to attempt to finish off this evening in more of a winning fashion on Cursed Hollow, the battlefield choice of the StepDads, leaving first pick, first ban over to Divine 9. If you were here with me for last set, Div D East, I imagine this set will be nothing like that. We are not going to see Nova, for example. Definitely the higher you climb up the ladder, the higher the level of competition. Usually you tend to have more meta picks and bans, and a certainly meta ban for Divine 9, taking white main out of the game. So let's see how StepDads responds. Typically right now we're seeing a lot of Asmodans being banned. I don't know if we're going to see it out on Cursed Hollow. We do live in a world where Raynor is first banned, and that is what the StepDads will do. There is a lot of really strong heroes right now, but none that are absolutely must ban. So that leaves a pretty wide pool of heroes that you're actually seeing banned out early nowadays. You do see the Diablo from time to time, the Maya, Phoenix, Genji, Dahaka on certain battlefields, Alexstrasza on certain battlefields. And it was, of course, toward the end of last season, a not well-kept secret that Divine 9 really liked busting out the Kerrigan. Now, I haven't kept quite as close track of them this season as I did last season, because last season they were in my division. I don't know if they've been using the Kerrigan as much. We're actually going to pull up the handy dandy stats of the Storm, and I'm going to look. So we do have a first pick Genji coming out from Divine 9. So the Shimada brothers showing up here early. First a Hanzo band coming out from the StepDads. And then a Genji selection by Divine 9. And then it is the aforementioned Dahaka. And then the Storyteller Deckard Cain for the StepDads. Deckard and Whitemane, probably the two strongest supports. After that, there's a little bit of a fall off. Maybe a little bit of tip of the cap to Alexstrasza on the right battlefield. And we are going to have an Abathur Johanna. So Genji Abba can be really annoying, can be very strong. And Abathur with the hat and the body soaking Really, and the clone just has a presence all over the battlefield. Not only Abathur Hat on Genji is powerful, but also the Genji clone, if that is the clone they want to use. And I love the Uther ban. You keep that Divine Shield off of the Genji. Uther is a favored pick of Divine 9 as well. Last season they used him to very strong effect, but not so much this game. StepDads saying no thank you and taking Uther off the board. Divine 9 will respond in kind with a Greymane ban. Greymane not as highly prioritized as he has been in the past, but he is still maybe the best generalist assassin. He kind of fits in any team comp. He has really good merc control. He can poke away safely in human form, and he can go to finish off those kills with Go for the Throat. However, we have an ETC who is not a tank we've seen much of. He's kind of fallen off a little bit and more in favor of Muradin, Diablo, Johanna, but here we have ETC and a Sergeant Hammer for the StepDads. Let's see how Divine 9 will respond to that. They're going to pick up a Yrel, Li Ming in the solo lane, so a double reset comp with Li Ming and Genji. Alright, and then a Thrall will round out this draft here from the StepDads. The Thrall ETC Dahaka frontline is a pretty formidable frontline for those guys to hide behind. However, double Genjis will be able to get back there when they want to. It's just a question of, will they be able to finish off the job? This is a really interesting draft and two very contrasting styles. I am really interested to see how this game is gonna pan out. Alright, well, we are here, game 1 on Cursed Hollow. The blue team, Divine 9, will feature Rabid Penguin playing Johanna, this guy on Yrel, Jason playing Li Ming, Phantoms on Genji, and Judge Bread on Abathur.
10 seconds.
And for the side of the StepDads, we will have Bacon playing Thrall, Adamisk on ETC, Vlies on Dahaka, Bidhams on Sergeant Hammer, and The Dream on Deckard Cain. I didn't even bring it up. However, this is, of course, a solo support Abathur comp with the Johanna shield and the Yrel shields and self-sustain. It's a very difficult style to pull off. However, if you can pull it off, it's highly effective. And here we go. Phantom's already taking a ton of poke. The Genji and the Li Ming will not be able to stay under that Sergeant Hammer umbrella for very long. They really have to dive in and out, in and out. However, with the early game Abathur, clearly StepDads putting a lot, and I mean a lot of pressure in this top lane. However, Bidhams is very low. Adamus doing his best to peel, but Maybe that Sergeant Hammer did stay just a little bit too long. Luckily, there wasn't a Genji in the Swift Strike range. StepDads, once again, hit the sippy cup, and now they reset for their continued assault in this top lane. Meanwhile, members of Divine 9, Genji and Li Ming, have started working on the Siege Giants in the top lane. Those will definitely get value pushing, while the first tribute has popped in the bottom. However, this early game hammer pressure paying dividends. This top fort wall by Divine 9 is gone. It is no longer here. The lack of body in the early game being taken advantage of by the StepDads. Meanwhile, Abba, of course, cannot hold a lane against Thrall. Thrall has been pushing this lane out, got a little bit of structure damage. In the bottom, however, Yrel doing just fine against Dahaka, and this is the one lane where Divine 9 is really at an advantage. We didn't talk about it too much yet. One of the disadvantages to Sergeant Hammer, the slow rotation speed. Hammer is a particularly slow hero. You really want to make sure you start rotating early on a battlefield as large as Cursed Hallow. This top lane, though, Divine 9 doing a nice job of turning the tables and pushing those Siege Giants in, kind of stabilizing this top lane. And now the members of the StepDads are going to rotate through a ton of mines, and then Jason is going to be dismounting and poking them all the way down here. Really well played by Divine 9, chunking out Atomisk and Bidhams and the Dream all the way down here. The Jason poke, the mines, poke from the Phantoms, and you can look at the red health bars. They were just not in a good place. Atomisk is very low. Yrel does dive onto him. He has to go back. Genji with the Abahat getting a lot of work done. And this is quite a barroom brawl. The first reset that goes over to Divine 9 will be a big one, but it is Johanna who actually goes down first. Genji dives in deep onto ETC, but not able to finish the kill. Post level 10, that entire engagement is a very different story. Genji was not able to finish ETC off a couple of times. Li Ming came so close to getting her resets. Post 10 with a Genji clone or even a Li Ming clone, that was definitely a kill or two. StepDads doing a really nice job of understanding that they have an advantage pre-10, and they are sieging into these lanes. They are taking a level lead, and they are pressuring Divine 9 with this Deckard Cain ETC Sergeant Hammer combo. And there really just isn't a great answer for Divine 9 at this point. They're doing the best they can to stay close, to get at least one tribute pre-10, because you will have 3 tributes that pop up before 10, and if you lose all 3 of those, Divine 9 is going to be in a world of hurt. One of the things that you like to get if you have an Abathur comp is the off-lane soak. Bidhams is stealthed up there as Hammer, and now he's moving in with the Hover Siege. There is a huge scroll of ceiling. Sergeant Hammer damage is very high, and Yrel the first to fall. Second tribute, once again, going over to the StepDads. Bidhams very patiently waiting in siege mode. The Dream threw out a really great scroll of ceiling, and that allowed that first auto attack out of siege damage, the one that does the bonus if that's what he took, and it is, to splash onto the members. It was kind of a mini little burst damage there. Very well played by StepDads. Divine 9 doing everything they can to keep the Sergeant Hammer comp at bay. But the 3 unanswered kills, 2 unanswered tribs, and I know it's early, but early game here has really been all about the StepDads. So level 10s will be here any moment. And that will secure the 3rd tribute of the games, as heroics have arrived for StepDads, as well as the first curse for them. It is going to be Mosh Pit for ETC, Isolation for Dahaka, Lornado for Deckard Cain, Napalm Strike for Sergeant Hammer, and Sundering for Thrall. So ETC staying here in the mid lane to soak. In the bottom, Dahaka actually able to get the kill on Yrel with the Abahat. Didn't even have to use Isolation. And in the meantime, top lane just being obliterated by Thrall and Deckard Cain and Sergeant Hammer. Divine 9 really in a tough spot here in the early game. They're going to be 2 to 2.5 levels behind before they pick up their heroics. StepDads doing a great job of staying in lane during this first cursed phase and getting as much value as possible. However, the hard engaged Moss Pit catches only Johanna. They haven't finished her off yet. She is able to come out, lands the Blessed Shield. However, Rabin Penguin is in trouble. Thrall finishes her off. Now the Dahaka burrowing in, this guy being Bloodybach, forced to use the Ardent Defender. There goes the tongue onto Yrel. She is going down as well. 2 unanswered kills for the StepDads. In the meantime, it's Disintegration Beam for Li Ming. Ultimate Evolution for Abathur. Ardent Defender for Yrel, Blessed Shield for Johanna, and X Strike for Genji. And my client crashed due to a bug with Blizz voice chat. So we will have to figure that out. Sorry guys, we will be coming back here in just a minute. Every once in a blue moon we have this issue. I don't know why there's this weird bug where it says parental controls have disabled your voice chat, and then my client crashes if I'm an observer. Only happens if I'm an observer though, which is really weird. However, we have already restarted, we are already rejoining, and hopefully we'll only miss a minute or 2 of the action. As you can hear the sounds of battle as we join the game, and we are now back. StepDads were able to secure top keep, and Divine 9 doing everything they can to contest this boss. However, the Mosh Pit into the boss stun. Genji goes down. And if you're marching with the boss down the top lane at this point, I think this means StepDads is thinking core. They have to be thinking core at this time. There is the power slide and the face melt onto Li Ming. Down she goes. Adamus barely able to stay alive. 4 members out of 5 will be here for the side of Divine 9. However, the boss is here. Sergeant Hammer is here. There is a hatted Genji diving in, but fighting down 3 levels like this, if you're the side of Divine 9, is so rough. Ultimate Evolution is used onto the Genji. They're doing everything they can to get onto that Sergeant Hammer, but it does not matter. This core is falling. It is falling fast. Game 1 in decisive fashion goes over to the StepDads. So the response to the Genji, to the Abba, was a very smart one, a very clean one. That hammer siege comp was brutal, and the StepDads just absolutely took control of that game from minute 1. Constant pressure. And once they fell behind, the Divine Nine just didn't have the damage or the means to get onto that hammer to really contest her. And I think after that first curse that the StepDads captured, that was kind of all she wrote there. Game 2, though, will be Divine Nine's choice of battlefield, and we will be going to Towers of Doom for Game 2. So both teams will be coming into the game now, and we will get this going momentarily. All right, so still waiting for these guys to come on in here. All right, so it looks like we have nearly all the members of StepDads here. Just waiting for the last couple of players to trickle in. Currently have 5 of the 10 players that we need. All right. All right, Divine Nine is here, ready to go, waiting for one more member of the StepDads, and then we can get started our second draft of the game. All right, both teams are here. Just waiting for that R to come out from both teams, and then we'll get going in our second draft of the game. All right, here we go into game 2. Divine Nine doing everything they can to salvage one win out of a very tough night for them tonight. They got to play adults with jobs and StepDads back to back. That is a really tough thing to do. Hoping to move on to Towers of Doom and end the season on, or end the season. Whew. And it's late for me, can you tell? End the evening on a winning note. First pick, first ban over to the StepDads. And let's see who they're going for. Now, we did have an Abathur selection by Divine 9 last game. Abathur is particularly annoying on Towers of Doom. Yrel being banned out, and that's because of the mule. You can capture the bottom fort usually and just mule it and make it so difficult to take back. And no surprise whatsoever, the Hammer ban coming out by Divine 9. She, just like Abathur, is maybe more annoying on Towers of Doom. Hammer kind of more annoying for the same reason. You can take that bottom fort, usually it's the bottom one, and just siege up in defense. And it's so hard to assault into a Hammer who's set up for defense. So a Maiev Hammer ban coming out for Divine 9 and a Genji Yrel ban for the StepDads, and they follow it up with a first pick Dahaka, who is so strong on Towers of Doom. He's really in a great place right now, and they showed they were perfectly capable of maximizing his Brushstalker Global's abilities last game. And then a Thrall Deckard Cain coming out by Divine 9. Two picks here for the StepDads. And it's going to be Whitemane Johanna. With the Hammer forcing her way into the bans with her performance last game, that opened up the slot that Whitemane had previously taken up with the bans. She's traditionally banned out and a Butcher ban. I did not see that one coming. I assume Divine 9 did their homework and they must know something that I don't know, but I cannot remember the last time I've seen a Butcher ban, and I would have probably guessed 30 heroes that would have been banned out before the Butcher. And then the Abathur ban, no surprise, coming out for the StepDads. Let's see what picks Divine 9 will take to round out their composition. Are they going to try to take some kind of global to counteract the Dahaka? Maybe a On the Pale Horse Malthael for the double soaking? And they're going to go with Muradin Li Ming. Li Ming, the old tried and true Divine 9 favorite. And Muradin, in my humble opinion, one of the top 3 tanks, currently sitting at the top of the meta with a Diablo and Johanna joining him. And we're going to have a Raynor Asmodan. And man, if you would have told me a year ago that Raynor and Asmodan would be this present in the meta, I would have told you you were on something. And it is going to be Sonya to round out the comp from Divine 9. All right. So last match of the evening for me and both of these teams. Someone is going to leave here. Coming Muradin, this guy on Thrall, Jay's on Li Ming, Phantoms on Sonya, and Judge Brad on Deckard Cain. For the near top of the standing StepDads, we have Bacon on Asmodan, Adamisk on Johanna, Bidhams on Raynor, The Dream on Whitemane, and Valise on Dahaka once more. Alright, so both teams have met in the mid lane for the traditional mid lane skirmish. Stormbolt does land onto Raynor, not much more than that. Let's talk about the peanut butter and jelly combination that is Johanna and Asmodan. Asmodan has a little trouble stacking the minions in the early game, and Johanna just helps that so much more than any other tank in the game. They go so well together. And now the rotation, maybe onto the siege camp, the pumpkin sappers. Both teams actually picking them up at almost the same time. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to learn how to stutter step and solo a camp, watch Bidhams on this Raynor. This is like a clinic for how to do this with no damage. However, Phantoms is in the bush. Members of Divine Nine are rotating over. I don't think he realizes how much trouble he's in. However, the spear by Phantoms just missed. Bidhams not only escapes with his life, but is able to pick up the pumpkin sappers. Alright, so early game here, advantage to no one. And we are on the verge of the first altar spawn in about 30 seconds here. And the first and fifth are always triple altar spawn. Welcome back if we lost you. And now Divine Nine once again moving in on this camp. They have split out the members of the StepDads, caught them in rotation. Bacon in trouble, is able to retreat to safety behind his wall. Meanwhile, off camera, Thrall securing top left for Divine Nine, Raynor top right for the StepDads, and positional advantage in the bottom lane to Divine Nine. However, that Globe of Annihilation did interrupt Judge Bread and the channel, and now it is Divine Nine who are forced to retreat. Their health bars slowly being chunked out. Raynor has arrived. Both teams now posturing over this bottom altar. Double root coming out by this guy on Raynor and Asmodan. The follow-up not there. Dahaka was very low. Nice timing on his burrow and the use of the essence. Phantoms tried to body block him in, but took a lot of damage for his trouble. Once again, Deckard is low, and that is the first real reset that they were able to get in either of these games for Li Ming, but she's got no mana, not able to capitalize. However, Deckard Cain with the Herodric Cube interrupt, and despite losing Dahaka, it is actually StepDads that are able to successfully channel the bottom altar. we do have a pause. Alright, so unfortunately we had a DC. We are beset by technical issues tonight. It is Bidhams on the Rainer that DC'd. Hopefully he will be back momentarily and we can finish out our games for the evening. Nope, it looks like he may be back. We have a Rainer spotting. And we are back with a brief disconnect there from Rainer. But he's back, better than ever. Now, anytime you have an Azmodan in the game, of course, the longer the game goes on, the more he stacks, the more damage he does, and once again, another invasion by Divine 9. This time, they are successful. Bacon taking a lot of damage from the Muradin and the Li Ming, Scroll of Sealing locking in White Ming and Azmodan. However, oh shit, I shouldn't have paused, just so used to it. Alright, so having some technical issues one more time. Rainer apparently experiencing a bug where it's forcing him to walk to a certain spot over and over and over again. And man, I could see how annoying that would be. Alright, we are going to try again. Hopefully Rainer can control his own hero. And we are trying one more time. And apparently Rainer is good to go, which is fantastic. We would hate to have some kind of bug that affects the outcome of this game. I would not honestly even quite know what to do with that, and I'm a mod, so both teams are at level 8. Both of the bottom altars will be spawning here. Thrall and Dahaka still in the top, so this is a 4-on-4. Rabin Penguin on the Muradin gets chunked down really hard. Thrall did go back to the Hall of Storms. Dahaka is still in the top lane. So Divine 9 is actually posturing bottom, but Dahaka's here waiting in this bush. He does come out, misses the tongue on Judge Bread, and now this is a very scattered engagement. Whitemane is trying to channel, but the members of Divine 9 have zoned her away. So Thrall and Whitemane posturing in the top. Now Azmodan coming up here. I really can't keep track of all this action for you. It's just all over the place. But StepDads actually able to zone out and channel the bottom altar. Both teams now making their way up to this mid. Adamus getting chunked down, as is Azmodan. Azmodan might be in trouble. Finally able to get out, but it's actually Jason trying so hard to get that ever-critical reset on the Li Ming. Actually the first to fall to Jimmy Raynor. So although level-wise, kill-wise, this game is oh so close. Core hit points solidly in favor of the StepDads, currently up 8 core health, 36 to 24, as they have been able to capture 4 of the 5 altar phases. Level 10 has been reached by the StepDads. We have Rainer's Raiders for Rainer, Divine Reckoning for Whitemane, Isolation for Dahaka, Tide of Sin for Asmodan, and Blessed Shield by Johanna. And for Divine 9, it is Wave of Force for Li Ming, Lornado for Deckard Cain, Avatar for Muradin, Earthquake for Thrall, and Wrath of the Berserker for Sonya. So earlier it was Thrall in the top lane squaring off into Dahaka. Now Sonya is taking her turn. 4-on-4 in the bottom lane with a threat for a Dahaka flank at any time. StepDads doing everything they can to bring in these pumpkin sappers. However, Scroll of Sealing was pretty big. Lornado trying to split them up. However, Thrall is first to go down. Muradin shortly follows. And StepDads slowly but surely taking control of this game too. We do have both altars have spawned here, and the members of Divine 9 will be up likely in time to contest the upper left, probably not in time for the upper right. So if you're the side of Divine 9 and you manage to get a split here with these altars, you're probably pretty okay with that. Once again, StepDads heavy prioritization in this bottom lane. They're using Asmo Clear to push Jason just a little too far forward, taking a lot of damage from Whitemane and Rainer. Rabid Penguin isolated out from his team. Blessed Shield, there's a zoning Scroll of Sealing to try to keep Rabid up, does catch the Whitemane and the Rainer, able to help Rabid Penguin get into a better position. But Bidham's on that Rainer. Chunk is just absolutely poking down that front line, making life very difficult for Rabid Penguin on the Muradin. And when you prioritize a Li Ming, you absolutely have to get value out of the reset trait, and that's not something that Divine 9 has been able to do. Here's the burrow from the Dahaka. They are able to catch Sonya on the Phantoms, and now a huge Scroll of Sealing once again used defensively. Isolation onto the Muradin. Judge Bread might be in trouble. I'm sorry, Rabid Penguin might be in trouble, and he is. Muradin falls. Judge Bread has been forced to use all of that Deckard CC defensively time and time again. Scroll of Sealing, Herodric Cube, defensive every time. They just haven't been able to put themselves in a situation where they can use his large AoE crowd control in an offensive situation. Divine 9 on their heels one more time. They will be forced to concede yet another altar. And now they are down core health by 16. A 2-to-1 advantage for the StepDads, 32 to 16. There goes the Blessed Shield, and Sonya gets obliterated. Lornado was not up in time, and I don't think Judge Bread could have reacted to that fast enough. The chain CC and blow up by the StepDads was so fast, there just wasn't an opportunity for Sonya to stay up no matter who that healer was, pretty much. Thank you, Cody Kraz, for the raid. Welcome. You guys are joining us here for a Div A West matchup, the second game between Divine 9 and the StepDads. StepDads right now definitely in control of this game 1, or game 2, I should say. They were able to win game 1 pretty solidly. Divine 9 back on their heels. The Asmodan pressure, the poke from Rainer, They've just been constantly falling back this whole game. And thank you, the good Professor Bobo, the boss himself, for the host. I will repeat what I said like 30 seconds ago in a moment as Li Ming goes down in a hurry, as does Thrall and Deckard Cain. A 3-0. Phantoms and Rabid Penguin rapidly retreating into their own base. This altar will fall, and now if the StepDads can actually get all 3 of these, Divine 9 will have but a single point of health left on their heroics. On their core, I should say. A single point of health left on the core. Phantoms is able to sneak away the upper left halter, however, mid and upper right, both going to StepDads, and now they will begin to siege in this mid lane. Dahaka is pressuring top. Sonya and Li Ming trying desperately to retake bottom, but it is going to take a miracle for Divine 9 to come back in this game. They are just in a terrible situation. Mid fort has fallen. No members of Divine 9 fall as well.
Blue team has destroyed a fort.
StepDads now will take the boss. They will have Pumpkin Sappers pushing in the top lane to take down the top keep. Really, whatever StepDads wants to do. This game, this map is kind of whatever they choose to do at this point. Divine 9 doing what they can to retake the forts that were taken from them by the StepDads, and in a moment they will have all 3 of them back, if only temporarily, as Dahaka is laying siege to this top lane.
It is nearly time.
So this, ladies and gentlemen, could be the game. The silver lining for Divine 9. They will be at the same talent tier. They do have their structure to kind of back up their retreat if they need to. However, Earthquake goes out from Thrall. They do catch the Rainer in the root. He is able to retreat. However, the Globe from Asmodan, does too much damage. Thrall goes down, Muradin goes down. This almost assuredly, barring some kind of miracle, will complete the 2-0 in favor of the StepDads. Down goes Deckard Cain. I love Divine 9 fighting to the bitter end. However, not to be this evening. StepDads securing the 2-0 win over Divine 9. Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us. A very strong showing by StepDads against a very solid veteran team in Divine 9. But StepDads really showing why they are currently right at the top of the division. Their record now stands at 11-3 this season, and they begin to posture towards the playoffs as Season 5 winds down. Sorry about the technical issues. We had some DCs on my end, some DCs on the player's end, and client crashes, but we made it through, and that will do it for tonight. I will be back tomorrow night, starting at 6 p.m. Pacific for another NGS doubleheader. So be sure to join me then. We have Duratan's Couch and a Square and 4 Triangles at 6 o'clock, and then Blasting Burrows and Hakuna Shimada at 7:30 for the nightcap, so be sure to join me then. I hope everybody has a wonderful evening, and we will see you in the Nexus. Good night.